sick, underestimated and betrayed, yet triumphant return to rule in the lands of Rwanda, a gorilla who overcame himself or a blessed destiny with good luck, possible due to being a close relative of humans. Many of us identify with primate stories, especially when documented to prove their authenticity. Maybe that's what earned this gorilla the title of monarch. This is the Wild Ordinary. And today, you will encounter the incredible story of gorilla Titus and how he conquered the challenges of his life in the jungle, only to be betrayed in his final days. So click the like button right away. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and if you're not following us on social media yet, now's the time to start following the behind the scenes of our channels on YouTube. Click like and let's dive in. The story presented is based on records from the Gorilla Fund website and the renowned documentary Titus, the Gorilla King, which I recommend you watch. August 1974, at the Kariho Research Center, Volcanoes National Park, Rwanda, Africa. In the mountains of Volcanoes National Park in Rwanda, a research center called Karasok was established to monitor, study, and promote the reproduction of mountain gorillas. In 1974, researcher Kelly Stewart noticed that one of the two new gorilla infants suffered frequent seizures. She informed the leader of the research team, who, upon learning this information, believed that the father of the sick infant would kill him, as is common in most gorilla family groups to ensure the strength of the group. However, the seizures stopped, and the gorilla thrived, being accepted by its group. With its continued presence, the local biologists named it Titus. The days of tranquility quickly ended, and Titus would face the bitter taste of mourning and loneliness. It was only a matter of time. Volcanoes National Park was periodically invaded by illegal hunters, who killed all kinds of wildlife. Despite forest rangers patrolling the area, the vastness of the location allowed poachers to interfere with the law of the jungle. The gorilla grew up, and 4 years after its birth, Titus witnessed its group being massacred by one of these ruthless hunters, who cowardly killed the males and some of the infants. The females fled, abandoning the few survivors, and Titus managed to escape by hiding in a tree, silently witnessing it all. The animal that many of us consider irrational had its family's life stolen by human greed. Paralyzed by fear, Titus remained hidden for hours, as the sound of gunshots seemed to echo through the blood-stained vegetation. Now he was completely alone. His father, the leader who accepted him despite his limitations in childhood, was lifeless, as were the other males. His mother and other females had fled. Titus had two options: sink into grief and waste away, or find another way to survive. For the first time, he chose to start over. As he traversed the dense vegetation-covered mountains of Rwanda, Titus encountered a group of 5 males led by an older silverback. Once again, fate smiled upon him. Titus was only 4 years old, while the other gorillas were adults who had no reason to accept him. After all, a young gorilla would soon become stronger than them. However, the males adopted Titus, perhaps out of fear reflected in his gaze, and for several years he learned everything he could from more experienced gorillas. This group of males managed to attract females from other groups, and a new group without close blood ties was formed in the mountains. Titus was the youngest and not yet of reproductive age, but he witnessed the birth of new members and welcomed each of them. The gorillas now had a new consolidated and growing family. We know that the jungle can apply its ingenuity to its inhabitants, and for a gorilla who escaped death multiple times, the end wouldn't be the best. After all, luck doesn't stay with us forever. But before that, Titus would live glorious days. Titus grew up and, when he became an adult, he became the biggest and strongest in his band. The old silverback, the leader of that group, lost his life due to age, and Titus knew his time had come. With powerful cries and displaying his muscles, he showed everyone that he would be the new leader. The news was well received by the band. Everyone knew that the mountains had a new king, and that king was Titus. He witnessed the birth of his offspring and enjoyed a time of abundance. The other males were also growing old and lost their lives one by one. These losses directly affected the king, reminding him of his painful past. His sad expression could be seen every time he encountered one of his friends who were no longer alive. Years passed, and Titus managed to rule over his few subjects, generating some offspring and growing his band a little more. Age caught up with Titus, and he no longer felt the vigor that youth once gave him. It wasn't just the tiredness of an old gorilla that time brought, but also his eldest son, whom Titus once expelled from his band. Now, with combat experience on his side, his son returned and would surely take advantage of his father's advanced age. On September 14, 2009, workers at the Karasopolis Research Center found Titus' son screaming among the trees, beating his chest and proclaiming himself the new king of that mountain gorilla band. By his side, Titus lay lifeless, ending a 35-year cycle of triumph. With a bit of luck and a lot of struggle, the story of this gorilla was immortalized, and his life's legacy is remembered by wildlife enthusiasts. While alive, the king of gorillas showed that nothing could stop him, and even when all seemed lost, he managed to start over not just once, but twice. It can be said that Titus had a glorious and eventful life for a gorilla in the wild. That's why we're here today, sharing a bit of what this great primate experienced. Comment on what you think, and if you have any more information about Titus, please share it with us. Leave your like to support our work here on YouTube. It's quick and free, just one click. Please subscribe if you haven't already and join our community. Thank you for watching. That's all.